Now we do some further trigonometry work, this time involving compass questions. Examples. In the first one, a ship sails from P to Q on a bearing of 120 degrees for a distance of 250 nautical miles, and we need to find how far is Q south of P. Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, where is the ship going from? Okay, where is it sailing from? It's sailing from P. And the reason we need to identify that is when we draw our diagram, we're going to start at that point P and draw our compass directions through that point. Now we're told that the bearing is 120 degrees. So from P to Q, that angle there from the north is 120 degrees. The distance we're told is 250 nautical miles, so we'll mark that in on the diagram as well. Okay, at this stage now what we need to do is complete a right-angled triangle. Now look at the question, how far is Q south of P? Well, if you look at Q from P, it's in a southeasterly direction, isn't it? South and east. It's not purely south, it's not purely east, it's between. But we are asked how far is the southerly direction. So we're interested in that distance there. Now looking at how we're going to use that information there, that 120 degree angle, to help us in this question, notice the angle next to it would make up the straight angle. So together that would have to be 180. So 120 plus 60 makes up the 180. Now we just focus on the triangle. We need to find D. We're going to use trigonometry, so some old hags can't always hide their old age. Identifying the two sides, our angle is 60 degrees, we need to work out what the two sides are in relation to that. Well, the 250 nautical miles, that is the longest side, that's the hypotenuse. The D is the side next to 60 degrees, it is the adjacent side. So we have adjacent and hypotenuse, we're going to be using the cos ratio. So we're using cos, the angle is 60 degrees, so we write cos of 60 degrees, and that equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So that will equal D over 250. Now we need to get D. At the moment it's being divided by 250, so to get rid of that, let's multiply both sides by 250. On the right side they will cancel each other out. So we get D equals, and it equals 250 times cos of 60 degrees. Using the calculator now to calculate that, we come up with that D equals 125 nautical miles, and that is an exact answer. Alright, we haven't even needed to round off there. Excellent. Our second example. Marie walks 300 meters due south, then turns to walk north 58 degrees east, until she is due east of her original position B. Find the distance that Marie is now from B. Well, again, where is she going from? It says her original position is B, so let's mark the point B, draw our compass directions through that point. Now, step by step, Marie walks 300 meters due south. There's our southerly direction. So let's draw a line down south and mark in the distance, 300 meters. Then she turns to walk north 58 degrees east. So from our new position, okay, a new set of compass points, northeast, okay, northeasterly direction, that's the distance she's going to travel. The angle we mark is 58 degrees. Now how far did she walk? Well, she walked until she is due east of her original position B. So from the B directly across, okay, in an easterly direction, we complete the diagram, okay, which happens to be a right-angled triangle. Now that's M, that's Marie, that's where she currently is. So we need to find the distance that Marie is now from B. So that distance there, we'll call it D, D for distance. Now let's just focus on the triangle, okay? Sometimes it's a bit hard. You can't really fade away you're working out on your sheet, but certainly, okay, you need to concentrate on what is marked on the triangle. Some old hags can't always hide their old age. Needing to identify the two sides is our first step. The angle is 58 degrees. D is directly opposite that, so that's the opposite side. The 300 meters is next to the 58 degrees, it's the adjacent side. So, opposite and adjacent, which one are we going to choose? We're going to choose the tan ratio. Choosing tan, the angle's 58 degrees, so we write tan of 58 degrees. Now it equals the opposite over the adjacent, so in this case, D over 300. So to find D, need to get rid of that 300 by multiplying both sides by it. On the right side, they'll cancel each other out. So then we have the D by itself, and D equals the 300 times tan 58 degrees. Now let's use the calculator, work that out. Works out to be 480.1 meters, and that's been rounded off to 1 decimal place.